So what we're going to be really going through today is trying to work out what the ingredients of a good community broadband scheme are. As you can see from the slide there, in my view it takes a mixture of all those different things working together. And because every community is different, it's really hard to find the right balance of all these different ingredients. In terms of what we'd like you to go away with at the end of today, it's really understanding that here at Cybermoor we've built a lot of experience running these quite complex ICT projects. Not particularly complex technically, but complex because they involve so many different stakeholders from the community, public sector, our technology partners. And through going through that process of doing all that management, we've learned loads of really interesting lessons. Most of them have been quite hard to learn, but we want to try and give you a taste of how we've overcome some of those obstacles today, so that you don't fall into the same traps. And if you want support with your projects in the future, then we're more than able to help with that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Paul Dodson. Now, Paul works for the Cumbria Social Enterprise Partnership, and they very kindly agreed to sponsor today's event. So that's how he's basically paid for everyone's lunch today. Cumbria Social Enterprise Partnership will do some fantastic work across Cumbria. Delighted to work with them over the past few years. And for all those of you who have got nascent projects in your mind, maybe thinking about how you can develop this, we think social enterprise is the best route to go down, just because it ticks so many boxes in terms of the ownership models, the benefits to the wider community. But without further ado, I'll hand over to Paul to explain more about it. Thank you, Paul.
Start off by saying how pleased we are as a social enterprise partnership to support the event today. I'm here as chair of the partnership, and should probably start by telling you a little bit about it. We've been around for around 6 years now and have over 300 member social enterprises. And really the partnership supports those enterprises through networking events, ensuring that they have access to information, and through direct business support, which we've been funded for, and are hopefully trying to put something together for next year, despite the cuts and all of the problems that there are with funding at the moment. We're hopeful we should have a programme in place. I'm not sure how much everyone here knows about social enterprise, but really a social enterprise is a business with social objectives. The same as any other business, it sets out to make a profit. There used to be a term not-for-profit businesses. We don't subscribe to that. If it's a business, it needs to make a profit. The difference with a social enterprise is what you do with that profit. It's reinvested either in the business, which has social objectives anyway, or to pursue social objectives within the community that it's serving. So, next one. Building on that, what does a social enterprise do? Often provides a service in an area where a commercial provider won't, and that can be for lots of reasons. It can be because the return on investment isn't attractive to a commercial company. Whilst a social enterprise needs to make a profit, it doesn't have the same pressures of shareholders and distribution of profits that another business may have. May also be that it's a community interest, something like a village pub, where the people in the community want to keep the pub or a shop going because it's important to their community, and they can run it by investing in it, and they get the return by the shop being there and the service being there for the area. And it can be down to all sorts of communities can be served by social enterprises, be it a physical parish or a community of a group of people. There are social enterprises that are set up to help people who have had mental health problems, for example, back into work. Really good example down in South Lakeland of Growing Well, which provide they grow they've got a small holding and they grow and they sell, but they also provide that work for people as a first step back into work who have been out of work for a period of time. So that's an example of one enterprise, social enterprise in Cumbria. But generally, you know, we've identified over 700 social enterprises, and they make a big impact to the economy. And you know, they vary from really small enterprises, village shops, for example, as I mentioned earlier, through to the housing association providers. They would be the biggest ones in Cumbria, where they're providing housing supplies for thousands of people. But on the principle, it's still that the profit is reinvested in the business and to grow the housing stock and to provide that service to their users. So I think those figures sometimes surprise people when we put them up. Some other examples within Cumbria would be credit unions, which again are, I think, vital, particularly in times of recession, that they can provide that service and financial inclusion to people who may otherwise be dependent on doorstep lenders paying thousands of % interest. They can make a real difference, and I think a really good example of what a social enterprise can do. Other social enterprises you might have heard of that operate nationally, the Big Issue, 15, the Jamie Oliver restaurant, and the Eden project in Cornwall, which started small. I mean, I've heard Tim Smith speak, who runs the Eden project, and it's amazing what they did as a social enterprise, being able to borrow the money that they needed to do that through the vision they had that it would be successful. And I think it just shows what can be achieved, and emphasises that it isn't just about small businesses that scrape a profit. It's about big business as well. It's just the model that is the social enterprise. Okay. Alston Moor, I mean, really is a hotbed of social enterprise. There's numerous social enterprises within the Moor, and as a partnership, we've often, with some of the regional work we do with Social Enterprise North West in particular, we've brought people up from across the region to show them what's possible, and you know, the high level of social enterprise that there is. I mean, that ranges from Cybermoor, who we're all here today to hear about, Alston Community Gym, serving 200 members. Again, I don't think there'd be a gym there if it wasn't run as a social enterprise. Nenthead Community Shop, all of the examples that I've sort of talked about, they all exist within Alston Moor. People like the Moody Baker, a cooperative, which I think have now expanded outside of the Moor as well. Really is a model that's caught the imagination, I think, on Alston Moor. And I think it highlights service. One of the examples I said where it's a service that can't always be delivered fully commercially by a commercial company, often because of remoteness, because of whatever the issues are, but it's almost vitalised the community to do it themselves, and I think that's reflected in the high amount of social enterprise that there is. And again, all of those enterprises make a big difference to the economy. And, you know, people have said Alston Moor is the social enterprise capital of England. There might be more social enterprises in some places, but they're dense. The density of social enterprises within a community, I've not seen anywhere where there are more per household than there are within Alston Moor. And again, you know, I think it would quite surprise some people, again, the impact that they actually make within the economy. That's quite a lot of jobs, and quite a big proportion of jobs in the area, and again a significant turnover contributing to the economy. So just to conclude, really, social enterprise does make a big contribution to the economy, and increasingly important. I think it's a model that is going to grow. There's pressure for it economically, politically. It seems to be an idea whose time is now. There are good and bad points to that, but there are certainly lots of opportunities to develop it. Cumbria Social Enterprise Partnership is here to support all existing and new social enterprises. If you want to start a social enterprise, I'm more than happy to talk to you about that and discuss some of the models. There's a vast range of different models of how a social enterprise can work. It's not a one-size-fits-all. As I say, we're looking to finalise our programme for next year, and that's why our manager, Rob Randell, would have been here this morning, but he's at a meeting trying to finalise that. But hopefully he'll be along later as well, and his contact details are on the next slide, if anybody wants to take them down so that they can contact him in the future. Thanks very much. Okay, and I'm happy to take any questions if anyone's got any. Yeah.
What are the factors that have led to so many social enterprises happening in such a small area? What's driven that?
I think to a large extent it has been that they're not going to be provided by anybody else. It's if you require the services in the community and nobody else is doing it, then it inspires you to get on and provide them yourselves, and that ranges from a number of things. I mean, the hall that we're in today is run basically as a social enterprise. It has to make a profit to survive, and as you can see, it is showing, I think, the rugby at the moment, hence all of the flags, of various events where it's, you know, creating an income. There are numerous reasons why somebody might want to start a social enterprise, but I think in Alston Moor in particular, it's because those services wouldn't be there otherwise, and that's reflected in some of the new ones coming through, like I think a snowplough running as a commercial enterprise to ensure that people can get out and about in the severe weather that we've had recently. Anybody else?
Would you not think, on the social enterprise side, that, sorry, Kevin Wood from Cybermoor, do you not think that there is an element of, as you get enterprises going, other people gain a confidence that they see their friends doing something, there is another need, so there is an ability to believe it can be done. Whereas if you're the first one in an area, that's a bigger leap. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, you know, there's clearly a snowball effect, and that's reflected in the density of social enterprises on Alston Moor. And that's one of the things that the partnership wants to do, is share good practice, show people what can be achieved, because if we don't always need to reinvent the wheel, there's models we can use, and if it's successful somewhere, then there's nothing to say that can't be duplicated to a degree somewhere else. The social benefit of social enterprises that is the real key. Yeah, they contribute to the economy financially, but it's that social benefit that they bring, whether it's the cohesion of maintaining a pub in a village because it maintains the community and not just for a meeting place, actually holds a village together. Those things are quite hard to measure. There has been work done, and I think it's something we need to do more work on so that it's really demonstrable. And there are things being developed like measures of a social return on investment, but it's hard to catch that social element rather than purely in financial terms.
Okay, thanks.